Money management isn't just about picking stocks or picking different types of bonds. It's a real process. And this is what really separates us from many others in the industry. The first thing we do in phase one is we explain how we approach things at Chapwood. We believe that we're very different in terms of our investment forensics and how we approach analyzing what you currently own. The private wealth management services are as strong as any firm, including the bulge bracket firms. We compete very strongly against Morgan Stanley, which we came, out of that private wealth group, UBS, Goldman Sachs. You will find that phase one is very, very competitive against every firm. And then obviously we get the information, but we don't just get the basic information. We try to dig real deep into what you're doing currently and what your future looks like. And we don't just let you accept what the CPI number is. We talk about the Chapwood index and most importantly, what your real cost of living increase is. Phase one is very, very important. Phase two, we get a little bit more detail. We start looking at the balance sheet. Obviously, we're always looking at your current portfolio, and then we write an investment policy statement. This is crucial. Most big institutional firms have investment policy statements. It's really a roadmap, and you need to have one as well. Never stopping at any point, not knowing that you're going to probably need money out of these accounts, either to live off of or make other investments away from us. But we need to know what those liquidity needs are. And if you have restricted stock, we look at the best way to reduce some of your exposure if need be. On phase three, asset allocation is the key to portfolio management, but it's really about the low correlation that asset allocation needs to bring to you. So when we talk about diversification strategies, we're talking about how can we build a portfolio where the correlations are very, very low. Then in phase four, we are always monitoring what we're doing. At least on a quarterly basis, we're sitting down with you and talking about, have your goals changed? Is the investment program still working? All of that happens as we onboard and we begin our relationship with you. Now, the wealth management process, this is something that we've done. Literally, I've done this for 30 years, and I was trained at Morgan Stanley along with the rest of my team. And you can just look here, and one of the areas I like to focus on is the municipal bond portfolio. We don't necessarily present municipal bonds in every situation. Only when the tax equivalent yield makes sense during that duration. Our alternative investment platform is as strong as any firm, much stronger than the bulge bracket firms. Let me say that again, make sure it's really clear. We have a bigger, more comprehensive alternative investment platform than you will find at Goldman, Morgan, UBS, all of the big firms. We have much broader reach than they do. That's one of the nice things about being independent. This is a slide that really depicts how we go through things. And I touched on some of this earlier, but understanding your balance sheet, your investment parameters, defining your investment strategy. We go through each one of these steps with you. We implement the strategy, and then we measure it. And I always love getting into the conversation about how we measure risk. Most people at investment firms just ask them, how do you measure risk? And they can't answer that question. We can answer that question. And we encourage you to ask your current provider who is managing your money, how do they measure risk? And then just sit there until they answer the question. Don't let them get away with not answering that question. And then obviously on the ongoing basis. Now, on the last bullet point on the right, you see strategic and tactical adjustments. Strategic portfolios are what you're usually presented with, but the tactical is what we do on a shorter term basis. And I'm not saying day to day, week by week, or month by month, but there's certain times that things look more attractive than others, and that's the tactical adjustments that we need to make in portfolios. This money management overview, where if you look in the lighter blue, you see some broad categories, and then outside of that, you'll see other ways that we go about it. So if you look at asset allocation, we're constantly looking at tax sensitivity that you need in case you have some carryover losses or carryover gains, that also comes into play into what we do. The custody and consolidated reporting, we have a team that at Black Diamond that puts together amazing reports and can really go in and get detailed analysis for you. If we can't stand up to your questions, and if we can't provide you with the correct answers, then you should fire us. That's how strongly we feel about the reporting. Tax and estate planning, we work very closely with your estate attorney and your CPA. We like to think that we have a virtual family office, which we do. Then over here on the quantitative analysis and risk management of concentrated equity positions, some of you have that. We have a lot of clients who have started public companies and have concentrated stock and need to get out of that. So we set up 10b5-1 plans for doing so. And then portfolio selection and monitoring. There's just probably nothing more important than making sure that you're aware of how you're doing and you making sure that we know what we're doing. And on this slide, we start to talk a little bit more about things that we don't necessarily do directly here at Chapwood. Personal banking is not something other than having debit cards and so on, but you might have some personal banking needs. We have a great relationship over at Dallas Capital Bank, but we also recognize that you might have relationships at other places, and we'll work closely with those people. The commercial real estate banking as well. If you're looking for a relationship, we know people already that we would recommend to you. We don't do any of that. Most people in our industry don't, but we've already taken the time to develop relationships so we can refer you over to them. And then the credit and treasury management. That's a very complicated area. A lot of businesses are looking for that, and we have great people and real strong professionals in that category. So that is our process, and it is a process, and we appreciate you taking the time watching this. Thank you.